review that real quick, how to graph it on an XY axis. First thing, half your angle is always on the positive side of the x-axis. Maybe that's starting to come back now. The other part depends on the angle. In this case, it's 145 degrees. Remember, it goes 90, 180, 270, and we're back to 0/360 here. And if I have a negative angle, which I will here in the next problem, I go clockwise. So 145. Anybody remember the quadrants? Where does that end up? Second quadrant. And back in the day, I was picky because I had to be. Now I'm not. You can put, all right, it's got to be in the second. I don't care if it's closer to 180 or 90 or not. This is just reviewing. This is not what I need you to do in the unit. And there is one last thing.
The circle.
Correct. Which direction are you going? So make sure you get the rotational arrow going in the correct direction. All right, how about negative 30? That's not going to change. The half of your angle is always on the positive side of the x-axis. Now it's negative, right? So now I have to go clockwise. So what quadrant is this going to end up in? 4, not quadrant 1, because I got to go clockwise. So somewhere in quadrant 4. And again, please make sure you do your rotational arrow go in that direction so we know it's there. All right, one more in degrees, 295. Where am I going to end up?
4.
Quadrant 4. Somewhere, again, the details don't bother me here. Like they did in October. All right, we have degrees, and then now we're coming up to, anybody remember this unit? Yeah, nice, Nick. There you go. Making me proud. I actually taught something this year. Radians, yes. Graph it in radians. Not here. We always graphed in degrees, so we have to convert it into radians. And here, nice simple conversion. Anywhere I see a pi, I plug in. Anybody remember the equipment? This would be huge. Wow, Tim, good job, boss. 180 degrees. Yep. So anywhere I see a pi, I plug in 180. So let's convert that to degrees. And we end up with what? Negative 150? All right, now we can graph that. Just make sure you're going clockwise for me. What quadrant should we end up here? Negative 150. Negative 150 would be quadrant 3, 2.
3.
Uh-oh. He's ready to come over and put you in a headlock, so you better be right here.
Oh, boy.
What do we think?
It would be in quadrant 2.
He's embarrassed. He's embarrassed. He's like, I take the same class as this kid. Are you kidding me? Negative 90. Negative 180.
Since when did the 90 change? It went to the bottom now?
Yeah, it did. It did. What do you mean it went to the bottom? It's always been negative 90 there.
Okay, I forgot.
You good?
I'm good.
So quadrant 3.
I was actually right the first time.
Okay. We'll take your word for it. And we're joking, right? We're joking.
I'm
All
not
right. All right. I don't want you to get all nasty with me. 13 pi over 8. Plug in your 180 for pi.
You're not supposed to. You're supposed to not get that.
How would I not get that? Look,
I got that too. I know.
292.5.
Oh, okay.
And where am I here?
Quadrant 4.
I should be in quadrant 4 here. Yep. All right, so a little review there, because that's the last time we go on the XY axis. All right, I want to introduce everybody now to where we're gonna graph from here on out. Okay. All right. Good talk. Good talk. Here's this is called a polar grid. You guys have always used a coordinate grid, X, Y. Now we're going to work on a polar grid. Why? Because you get more detail on a polar grid. When we just graphed 105, we were like, yeah, let's just throw the arrow here. Not anymore. We're going to get a lot more detailed where that arrow should go. First thing, before we start doing any graphing, you got to make sure you know how to label this graph in degrees and in radians for me. All right? If I go all the way around, we know how many degrees am I going? 360. I already counted them up for you. If you count all these marks, there's 24 of them, equally spaced. So how many degrees does it go by then? I go 360 all the way around. There's 24 of these markings here, equally spaced. It goes by 15s, correct. So ready? 0, 15 degrees. Next one, 30 degrees. 45, 60, and I'll let you guys finish the rest of the polar grid. Okay? So it goes by 15s, 15 degrees. 75 degrees. Oh, look what's there, 90. Keep going all the way around for me. It just goes by 15s.
Can you not count?
No, apparently not. Yeah, I just
Yeah, it's 5050.
I had a concussion after asking me to count backwards by sevens from 100.
And then, hey, do we notice? Up 180, where it should be, where we're used to it to be. But we're just getting more detail on the polar grid. That's all it is.
Yes.
Because I already was sitting there spinning because I had a concussion.
Oh, there's 270. Shock.
I got it in the end, don't worry. I think I Can you make that? No, where did I?
15.
Did I skip somewhere? Like wrote it wrong? No, because I wrote it wrong. Because I'm only at 245 and I should be at 270.
Yeah.
Why is it like that?
180,
Right?
195, 210.
Oh yeah, that is how that works.
Any issues going by the 15?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, two things I want to mention. Number one is if we went negative, same thing. We'd be going clockwise now. Negative 15, negative 30, and so on. Your XY axis is in here, isn't it? Everyone see it's still in there. Don't draw it out, but look. Your XY axis is still there. We're just a little bit more detailed now. Okay? Just a little bit more detailed. All right. Now I need you to go to radians without converting. Because when we do our graphs at the end of this unit, it's going to be in radians and not degrees. So I need you to know how the circle, the polar grid goes in radians. All right, so here we go. If you convert 15 degrees to radians, it's pi over 12. So every mark is going to be in increments of pi over 12. Oh, it was easy going adding 15 in my calculator. How do I go by pi over 12s? Watch. Easy. That's 1 pi over 12. The next one's going to be 2 pi over 12. Next one, 3 pi over 12. And if you want to reduce that, go ahead. I'm not going to, and you'll see why at the end of class today. I'm just going to keep it at a 12. All right, so if you want to reduce 3 pi over 12 to 1 pi over 4, feel free. I'm not going to, and you'll see why. I like you guys to know that it's at a 12. So keep going. And you'll notice that hopefully by the end, you're at 24 pi over 12, which is 2 pi, 360.
My brain is
The ink.
So the degrees go by 15 degrees and the radians go by pi over 12.
My tattoo. I was like, I've never spoken to you ever before. That's Carla.
Nokia.
She like attacked me in the hall.
What'd she say?
She was like, oh my god, tattoo. And I was like,
We're
it's 7 in the morning. Like,
I'm not kidding. You should.
you do not have the power to
The guys who
I think
don't.
I'm down to say,
I want to just go to dumb short.
Okay, but it's not like she has them, so like, what's the thing?
I think she does.
She definitely has A2B.
I said, what?
My mom is. I said,
Roshi ones?
Do you know
I
what
got them.
definitely
They
has
my
come
mom
to,
has
hold
one.
on, let me show you.
Really? What is
No, Roche wrong.
I don't know.
Is Roshi ones? Like the old shoes.
You think he does?
Roshi ones?
For sure.
for sure?
That's what I call.
Yep.
These shits?
Do you know?
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
What is it?
These things?
Why
Yes,
did
bro,
we
I got
start
them.
at
Oh,
the
okay, so
Yes, they come.
at the 0 with pi?
We did, it's 0. 0
Oh,
pi.
it's 0?
It's right here, it's just 0.
Okay.
Yep, still 0.
They're $55.
I was
I
wondering.
think anyone has that money.
Did I do something? Wait, so it's confluent, isn't
Yeah, it's right. You just saw
I just,
that's 0. Then it goes to 12. And 18. And then back to 0.
Oh, okay.
you're right. Yes, and it's your brain power. You can't do it.
Wait, what did I do?
Well, look at me, Aaron.
1, 2, 3.
All right, anything? Go ahead, Cindy, what's up?
Is the last one supposed to be 23?
This one right here should be 20. We start at 0. Just like this one right here should be 23 pi over 12. And then you get to 24 pi over 12, which is back to 360 again. Okay? Good questions. Anything else? All right, so here's what we're going to do. These that we graphed on the XY, how do I graph them on the polar? And it's going to be pretty easy. Ready? 105. How do I graph 105 on the polar grid? Rules don't change. For 1/2 of your angle is still on that positive side of the x-axis. That's not going to change. What is going to change is, hey, let's just throw an arrow into quadrant 2. No, we're not. You're going to get detailed for me. You know where 105 is now. Exactly where it is. Remember, up top was 90, and you're going by 15s. So 75, here would be 105. Nope, sorry, it's 75. 90, 105. Just going backwards. There it is. More detailed than just throwing it in the second quadrant. And yes, our arrow still has to go because I need to know what direction you're going. So that's it. As intimidating as it looked when you pick up your packet, that's it, what it is. There's one little slight thing at the end here we got to just discuss, but negative 300. Now remember we're going in the other direction, clockwise direction. And so, hey, I hope nobody's just going, oh, 15, 30, 45. No, don't do that. It's going to take too long for you. Hey, remember, 90, 180. This is 270 right there. So keep adding 15 from 270. Let's see, that would be 270, 285. Why am I missing? 270, 285, 300. There we go. I can't count. If you want to count by 15s, that's fine. It's going to be a while, but just know where the main ones are and count 15s from there. Okay, anybody lost yet? We're all good? Before I hit up the radians. Or not yet, we still got 240.
Which way do you
Okay, 240.
Otherwise.
Well, stop arguing.
Positive 240. Counterclockwise, right? Remember, that's 180 right here and 270's down here, so somewhere in between. Make sure your arrow's good. Any issues with the degrees before we head over to radians? And when we do radians, you do not convert. I do not want you to convert. There's no reason to. Remember what they go, not by 15 degrees, they go by what? Pi over 12. So you're only going to go 10 now, right? You're going to go 10. So I start at 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Boom.
I think that's enough.
We're good. All right, relax, Tim. Relax. I'll do the class management. Okay, thanks. So that's why I don't want you guys to reduce. You know it's out of 12, just count up to 10. But here's the problem we come to is the next one. What happens if my radians aren't out of 12?
Multiply it to get.
Make it out of 12. Make it out of 12, guys. Right? What do I multiply that 2 by to make it out of 12? Yeah, there you go. So that we're really graphing negative 18 pi over 12. Make it out of 12 if the denominator's not. Remember where you make sure you start counting clockwise. Be careful. Go clockwise. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And then 7 pi over 4. Multiply it by 3. Yep, that's what I was thinking too. Good job. So 21 pi over 12. And if you don't want to count 21, you can always work backwards, right? Because you know you start at 24, so you can go 23, 22, 21. If you want to do it that way. 23, 22, 21. And we're going what? Counterclockwise because it's positive. And then all we have to do from here is graph. I got to show you how to graph a point. How do I graph point sign here? And then finally, we're going to make graphs that look like hearts, shamrocks, everything else on this polar grid. All right. Whew. That was a rough one today, huh? And you just have to practice it tomorrow.